Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the East Cocalico Township Board of Supervisors meeting to order for Thursday, December 1st. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As always, I just ask everyone to just double check any electronic devices, phones and things. Just make sure they're either off or on vibrate so they don't ring during the meeting. This meeting was duly advertised in the Lancaster newspaper on December 1st of 2021. And this evening we have the Reinhold Ambulance Station number 9 presentation from Jessica Nino.
You don't need to standardize things.
Whatever you're most comfortable with. Welcome.
Thank you. So I guess you got all the information. I brought some with that things went through. On the back of that pamphlet there, our membership drive, it has the call volume on the back of the different areas that we go into and how many it was for last year. I overlooked today just to see how many calls we did have in East Cocalico. We have a few over 200, so by the end of the year, we'll probably have just a couple more than what we did last year. So we do come in East Cocalico quite a bit. Times are rough right now. You know, our payroll staff is high, and volunteering is going down tremendously. So we're faced with having to get a new ambulance here. We did put in for one, but of course they are not available right now. You know, we have our list on our name, you know, to get one, but it could be a year to 2 years out. So we're just asking for some kind of help towards some of the big purchases that we have to do in the future. Asking for anything specific, but just from the townships that we have some support, because financially it's getting very hard for us with payroll and all the other costs, you know, fuel and upkeeps on, you know, the ambulance and maintenance and things like that. Every year our budget's up higher and higher. And Medicare only pays us so much, and I had also included that with your pamphlet, what we do get back from Medicare. So even though we bill a certain amount, we do not get back what we bill. I also put in there, I don't know if you're familiar with the Medic unit, we do joint billing, because if we didn't do joint billing, they couldn't bill insurance, because only the transport unit is the one who gets paid. So many years ago, we started with joint billing with them. So someone might get a bill of like $1,800, but that's not what we get. We would average, you know, around $300–400, and medics get some of it, but we never get the total full amount back from reimbursement from Medicare insurances. Medicare does mandate what we may charge, so it's sort of out of our hands. Like, we can't just say what we want to charge. So it's tough. It looks good on paper if you think you have that many calls and you times it by a certain amount, but that's not realistic. We go out and we do public assistance, like lifting off the floor, helping people out, going to ambulance or to motorcycle or vehicle accidents, and we don't transport, we don't bill the patient for that either. The communities are really lucky, like 5 Pointville, Reamstown, and Reinholds do not bill for those things. Effort Ambulance does bill, and that's all out of pocket by the patient, because you can't bill that to insurance companies. So our communities are very lucky. We try to do things for the community people, recognizing that there's a lot of financial hardship for a lot of people nowadays. We do send out memberships, and 5 Pointville and Reamstown and us, we all honor each other's memberships, which we hadn't done in the past, but we have the last couple of years. So that way, if one of us are on call and we go into someone else's territory and they're members, they still have that benefit of membership with us. I'm not quite sure what else you would like to hear. The paperwork there is all there. Do you have any questions for me?
Jim?
What's your rate of response to the requests you put out for financial membership assistance?
We probably get about 70,000 back a year in memberships and donations together.
At one time, I guess whether it was Reinhold's Fire Company or whatever, they said that the number of requests they put out for memberships was one of the higher ones, response ones in the county, I guess, upwards to 50%. Do you see that kind of response with the requests you put out?
No, I don't.
Okay.
We have some of our, I would say more the older people that have been around forever are very faithful to it. We pick up a couple new memberships every year, but I mail out 3,700 to homes, and we might get about 1,200 back.
Okay.
So I would say about a third.
Okay. All right. Interesting. Thank you.
You're welcome.
If I may, real quick.
Yes.
I would really like to say thank you to the Ryan Homes Ambulance and Jess for, as far back as I can remember, we need to keep up our CPR and or our first aid service for the department. And for many years, they did that and didn't charge us for the police department. And we do it every 2 years. They had to start charging us because the cards themselves from the American Red Cross became too expensive. So we do get billed, but it's very minimal. I think it's
$22. We only charge for the cards, not for any profit.
so, and in the past few times, Jess has come to our station and did the CPR training and the first aid training for us. So it saves a lot of time. It saves a lot of money for not having to bring an instructor in from outside. So I would like to say thank you for all the years that they've done that for us.
Thank you.
Okay, reaching out to the public, any questions? Okay. Yes, sir.
Question. Did they give
Name, sorry, helps with the meeting minutes.
Wesley University.
Thank you.
Did they give you like a budget of what they make in a year? All of, or give you paperwork showing what financial support they need?
We did not give like a budget report, no, we didn't.
Okay.
What we gave was the price of a new ambulance, a price of a new litter put in our ambulance. We actually have a littering that we've had, I think, for 12 years. And if we get a new ambulance, we no longer can use that one because the government, of course, the state says that you have to have an upgraded one, even though ours works perfectly fine. So back when we got it, it was $11,000. And now to get an automatic one, it's $7,000, $8,000 something dollars. We were blown away. We had no clue when they came out to demonstrate. We could go with a little bit of a cheaper model, but you would talk about $10,000 difference, you know, for not the automatic lift. So prices have increased tremendously, just like anywhere you go nowadays. So that's sort of why we came, because we will be faced with within the next year to 2 years that we do have to upgrade whether we want to or not.
Okay, Lorenzo, anything? Okay. Anyone else? Okay, thank you, Jessica.
I'm gonna leave it, if that's okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Announcements of executive sessions that were held. So we had an executive session on November 18th from 1 to 2:30 in the afternoon. That was for personnel related to the township manager search. We also had an executive session on November 28th. That was from 1 till 3:25. That was for personnel as well as the township manager search. We had an executive session earlier tonight at from 6 p.m. until approximately 6:30. That was for the township manager search. Okay, past meeting minutes for approval. Gentlemen.
Looks good to me.
Yeah, I'm all right.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to approve Thursday, November 17th, 2022 Board of Supervisors meeting minutes.
I will second that.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none. Motion carries. Okay, action items, land planning, engineering. Casey.
All right, first on the list, 36 Muddy Creek Church Road. This is a project that has had conditional approval for about a year. So we actually flagged to the applicant consultant that the conditional final approval will need a 1-year extension. They have renewed their PennDOT HOP. Muddy Creek Church Road is a state road. So as a result, we recommend that the board consider a motion to grant a 1-year time extension for the applicant of 36 Muddy Creek Road to satisfy the prior conditions of plan approval, thereby setting a new expiration date to December 16th, 2023. And I think some of the delay for this project, I believe the owner, the applicant, had some recent health issues based on the letter that we had received back with the time extension.
Okay. You didn't expect the applicant here. Okay. So do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to grant a 1-year time extension for the applicant of the 36 Muddy Creek Road to satisfy the prior conditions of the final approval, thereby extending a new expiration date to December 16th, 2023.
Okay, and I will second that. So we have a motion and a second. Any comments or questions on that one? Okay, seeing none, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none. Motion carries.
All right, the next one on the agenda was the Black Forest Warehouse Freight Partners. I had talked to Bill Roundtree on Tuesday. Bill Roundtree is the PE that's the developer of the project. He said they're still working on some things and we're not going to show up tonight. So I'm not sure if you want to officially table it. There will be no action required for that.
Okay. That's more just a status one.
Yeah, it's on the agenda. It's just want to highlight that they were not pending on, so they're not here.
Okay.
So I can go on to the next one. 9 Whitetail Drive, stormwater management plan. Basically, that plan on Whitetail Drive has been wrapped up, except for one maintenance meeting agreement that we recorded with the county. So our motion would be to authorize a full release of the remaining financial security for the 9 Whitetail Drive stormwater management plan. Commission upon the updated stormwater maintenance meeting agreement being recorded as noted in the Becker Engineering email dated November 21st, 2022.
Okay, you didn't expect anyone for that one. Okay.
I will make that motion.
Okay.
And I will second it.
So we have a motion and a second. Any questions on that project? Okay, seeing none, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed, none. That motion carries.
Next one, red run exhaust. And the way these motions are set up, the purpose we do this is because we want people to get their security back as soon as possible. And so with certain conditional releases, it allows township staff and allows us to work together. And once those minor items are completed, you don't have to sit through another 2-week meeting period to essentially get their money released. So that's why these next two motions are set up the way they are. Same with 9 Whitetail and 5 Society coming up. So for red run exhaust, we got as-built plans. I reviewed them. There were some minor issues. So 2 motions, I'll read them both to make it as easy as possible. First one would be to authorize a $72,708.42 reduction in the remaining financial security for the red run exhaust of Greenstown preliminary final land development plan, resulting in the remaining financial security being reduced to $2,000. Then a second motion would be to authorize a full release of their security for the red run exhaust of Greenstown preliminary final land development plan, conditioned upon the items being completed for Becker Engineering dated November 25th, 2022.
Okay, so there's 2 motions there. I will make a motion for both those motions
Together?
together.
I'll second that.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second for both those motions. Okay, any comments or questions on those? Seeing none, we have a motion, we have a second for both motions. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed, none. Those motions, both of them carry.
And I guess, and I will add that Sharon, I forgot to add this, I will add Sharon emailed me this week saying that, I assume that Red Run had come behind on some fees, so she had really wanted to condition of those to be, condition of the second motion to be that they have to pay the fees to get the rest of their money back. I'm sorry, I forgot that one in the motion. I'm not sure if you wanted to evaluate that as a third motion, third condition, or.
Let's make that a third
Yes.
motion. That's a third motion. That can be conditional to the second motion,
Yes.
to the
Yeah.
first motion, actually.
Drop the ball on that one.
Do you wanna say the numbers?
I don't know what the numbers are, that would be Judy who had the numbers,
Okay,
that's why I asked she was here tonight. So I just got an email saying that they had not, paid certain fees, that's really all I do.
all right, so how about this? I will make a motion that the first motion to authorize the $72,708.42 reduction in the remaining financial security for Red Run exhaust of Reamstown be contingent upon the satisfaction of the engineer as
Fees paid to the township.
for all fees paid to the township.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second. All in favor? Aye.
And the last one, Fox's Siding, this was actually two separate lots, right next to each other on North Reestown Road. Same thing, plan was completed. We got the as-bills, they were very, very minor items remaining on the as-bills. So the motion here would be authorizing full release of the remaining financial security for Fox's Siding, so our management plan, conditioned upon the items being completed per Vector Engineering's email dated November 25th, 2022.
Okay, I will make that motion.
I'll second that.
Okay, so we have a motion, we have a second. Any comments or questions on that one? Okay, seeing none, we have a motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed, none. Motion carries.
And those are the items for the engineer report. There are no further questions from anybody here.
Thank you, sir.
See you at your next meeting.
Okay, great, thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Jeff, I think this is one of yours. FS4 agreement for the 2023 growing season.
Yeah, Ken handled some changes that were being made to the documents on the current year's program. Maybe Ken, you want to do some highlighting on that, or?
Yeah, I can. We made a few minor changes in the way we're running the program. Initially, we had set it up that there was a sort of medium and high residual cover that they could sign up for. They would get a higher payment per acre for the higher percent cover. And the way it had been set up, it was more advantageous for people to go for the lower cover to actually make more money in terms of their participation. So what we did is we changed it so there's just the lower level, which is essentially what everyone did in 2022, and we have added a small bonus for those who attain the higher level. And to say attain the higher level, we get a significantly higher sediment reduction credit from it. And so that gives them incentive to do that, and the incentive is a 20% bonus over what they're getting paid previously. In addition to that, we added some provisions about things they have to do, all of which would essentially have been in the conservation plans that they already had, so it just kind of specifies it more directly in the agreement. It isn't really changing anything with those items. And that's essentially it. That's what we changed. And it's been run past the solicitor, who had no problems with it. And so we're bringing it to you for approval so that we can send it out for participants for the 2023 growing season.
Yeah, I don't think I can add too much to that. It's just, we are asking for a little more documentation with manure management plans, and a few other conservation plans, so that we have all the written documentation that we would need to say that they're fully compliant.
So are we waiting on anything else for this then, or?
No, I think
No, I
we're,
think everything is ready to go, so if you could approve it tonight, we can send the contracts out to the farmers for next
To be
year.
executed, yeah.
Question for you guys, I guess, because I haven't been a part of it. Who, was this in place last year as well, the 20% bonus, or is that something?
no, this is different this year. All three of our farmer cooperators went way above the requirements that were in this year's contract. And the feedback that we got was they were looking for, a little extra payment for going way above. And as Ken stated, the MS4 credit we get is substantially higher for the good work that they were doing. So I think it behooves us to recognize that, and the small increase in payment helps encourage them to keep doing the good work.
I'm assuming someone encouraged the 20%, that number, I assume, or?
Yeah, we had a meeting, and Ken and Sharon, myself, we talked about some different options. I think it was run by our consultant at Team Ag as well, to get his thoughts on it. He's been helping guide this from the very beginning, and that was a reasonable number to come up with for the extra credit we're getting. But it still gives them the ability, if residue levels fall a little short, they don't make the extra bonus payment, they're still involved, we still get the required credit we're looking for.
Question.
Sure.
How is pulling on what Lorenzo just asked from a different way, how was the 20% number actually derived? Is there a formula you used? Was it?
I think, Ken, we looked at the extra residue. The MS4 credit actually, it didn't come up to quite double, but it wasn't far away from it from our standpoint.
In terms of the credit we get for
We
the
get.
participation. That number was kind of suggested as sufficiently high to encourage them all to strive to do that, but not so high as to cost us a lot of money if they all do, which they may.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a compromise there.
Okay, so just so I'm clear for the public's understanding then, because this is new to me. So
As it is to me, that's why.
So they're achieving double, almost 100% of where their targets were. And the recommendation was 20%.
Was sufficient enough to recognize that
Okay,
and encourage it in the future.
to recognize it, okay.
We have program costs in mind too. To say that because we get double the credit, they get double the money, just probably isn't really fiscally responsible from our standpoint.
What was the dollar amount? Did we have that?
For the base amount, we're still working off as 150 an acre. Is that right, Ken?
I believe so, yes.
And the 20% over that would be an extra $30 per acre.
What do you think?
Thanks for the explanation.
Yeah, well,
Okay, so, want to make a motion?
sure. I make a motion that we accept the FS4 agreement as written and send it out to participants as was directed in 2022 for the 2023 growing season.
I'll second that.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any comments or questions on that one? Okay, seeing none, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, none. Motion carries. Okay, thank you. Thanks, Ken. Okay, next item, pension costs, police pension, COLA, the cost of living adjustment. We have a side letter agreement which was put in place on December 16th of 2020 with the police, with the East Cocalico Township Police Officers Association. That side letter agreement was done in such a way that it applied COLA to the police contract. Pension plan ordinance at section 1, article 4A grants an automatic cost of living adjustment when the police pension fund is funded at 90%. We are fully funded. So we have with the side letter agreement, we have a COLA adjustment to the police pension, and the maximum allowed is 3% per officer. There actually is a cap on the officers at 30% over the lifetime of the officer. So that's the background. So I would like to make a motion to approve the police pension automatic cost of living adjustment at the maximum allowable increase of 3% in accordance with the side letter agreement between East Cocalico Township and the East Cocalico Township Police Officers Association, dated December 16th of 2022. The aforementioned agreement modifies the police pension ordinance at section 1, article 4A, and agrees to grant an automatic cost of living adjustment when the police pension fund is funded at 90%. That is the motion. Do we have a second?
I guess for discussion purposes, we had talked about this a little bit on the side about where the fully funded part comes into play. Last year at this time, it was projected that the MMO was going to wind up being well over 90%, and the COLA was justified. I guess when you look at this, my questions start coming in. Is that the number we're still working off of for the year ahead of us? Or is it something that gets re-looked at in every year? The pension had taken a beating this year till the end of the third quarter, and I think it's done a remarkable turnaround from that point till today. So I'm not sure where the percent funded would be if it were today.
So what are you asking?
The interpretation of the ordinance, I guess.
Interpretation of the ordinance is pretty clear. To answer your question, it all comes down to the actuarial valuations and how those are calculated. The actual valuations are calculated on a 2-year period.
So that just,
Okay, so the actuarial calculations on these were done. They were done on December of 2021. They have a 2-year period. So your fully funded is up to that point in time. And that carries forward because the actuarial reviews are done every 24 months. They're done every 2 years. So that is your number for 2022 and 2023. A new updated actuarial report will be done in December of 2023. That will be locked in and used for 2024 and 2025. If we do not apply this, so actuarial reports are not done based on the performance of the market. They're up to a period in time. If this is not applied, we're completely opening ourselves up to contract violations because it's very clear in the actuarial report that we're fully funded.
For a 2-year period. For a 2-year period.
At least. If you disagree with the fully funding, then you have to disagree with the actuarial reporting and evaluations.
No, I mean, it's real clear.
It's gonna be pretty hard to say we're not fully funded when the state of Pennsylvania just gave us a rating of 5, which was the maximum, which says you guys are so fully funded, you're not getting a dime from the state of Pennsylvania. I'm summarizing.
Yeah.
So that was the report from, let me pull it up. That's why I have my laptop. September 14th of 2022, our total distressed score was 0. Your distress scores go from 0 to 5. Okay, your funding, paragraph number 2, it should be noted that the distress scores do not affect the amount of state aid that the municipalities are eligible under Chapter 4 of the Act. To obtain a distress score of 0, the fund ratio of your municipality's pension plan combined must be 90% or greater. Your funded ratio is 100%. Signed, Brian Bowers, Municipal Pension Reporting Program, Department of the Auditor General for the state of Pennsylvania. So that's the number for the next 2 years.
For this year.
0, not
For this
5.
year.
Or 0, not 5.
Whereas, no,
Or 0.
we're a
Which is
0,
good.
right,
Yeah.
which is 100% funded. It's the way they do
Yeah.
their rating. They go from 0 to 5. 5 is the worst. That's fully
So
distressed.
you had said we were 5, that's why I wanted to make sure we're 0, not 5.
Correct. And it's kind of counterintuitive
I
because
hear
a
you.
0
0 is lower.
0 implies that it's
Just
pretty
saying.
bad. Yeah, it's counterintuitive.
No, that was my
Actuaries.
that was my concern, that it was a 2-year period. I suspected that was the case, but that was my question to you. And once again, it was concerning to see the drop in dollars in the pension this year and how it would relate to the ordinance and what was there. So,
But the drop in dollars in the pension are not realized. The money's still invested. The market's still going up.
it changes every day.
So it's not realized, it changes every day.
Changes
Jeff,
every
we
day.
talked about this during the pension meeting. You can't take a snapshot and buy in the lows and buy and sell in the highs.
Absolutely.
If we could do that, like I said in the meeting, I wouldn't be sitting in this chair.
Yeah.
I'd be sitting on my own private island.
Yeah.
I mean,
No, I agree totally. But that was the basis of where I was going. So thank you for clarifying that.
If I may,
yes, sir.
just for
Sorry,
clarity's sake, excuse me, this is the COLA for the retirees.
Mhm.
This is reference to the pension fund for the cost of living for the retirees, not current officers. Just to
Yep.
make sure that's clear, this is retiree only.
Yes, thank you for mentioning that. Okay, so we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
We have a motion and we have a second on the floor. Any questions or comments on that one? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed, none. Motion carries. Okay. Haller Enterprise Zone Damper Replacement. Who's most familiar with that one?
The guy downstairs.
So to give a little background real quick.
Sorry, chief, it's not a police report, but
No,
help
it's,
us out
but
here.
it's in the lockup room downstairs, so. We had talked about it when we met in Smokestown, or at the Smokestown Fire Company, I think that was over the summer, in reference to fixing the damper. It was never realized. I know there was discussion about the replacement of the system and all that, and I think they kind of got mixed in about getting other quotes, but this would be for the zone damper, and like I said, in the lockup area. It replace two zone dampers, test the system, disposable parts and debris, for a total of $2,973. The reason I thought of this was Tuesday night, I worked midnight shift, or evenings into midnight, whatever you want to say, 6 to 6. I noticed something wasn't right with the one vent, so I went back in the boiler room, and one of the pumps, and again, I'm not an HVAC guy, but I think it was one of the pumps was leaking. It was leaking a lot of water. So Lorenzo came out and we checked it out. He made contact with Haller. They came out the next day. They shut that pump down, and the heat is working through the other pump because there are two pumps on there, thankfully. So they're going to be sending out an estimate in reference to the repair work for that, which I have not received yet. But I asked if they could resend the quote for the dampers, which they did. So I'd ask for a motion to replace the dampers in the police lockup area for the estimate of $2,973.
Surprised it didn't go up. The original estimate date was June 23rd.
I know, I was worried about that, but it came back the same, so.
I'll make that motion.
I will second it.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. Any comments or questions on that one? Okay, seeing none, we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, none, motion carries.
And because Lisa's pretty busy right now, that's why I told Howard to send me the estimate, so I'll reach out to them tomorrow in reference to getting that scheduled, because they have to work coordinated with us anyway, so take care of that.
Thanks for
Thank
taking,
you.
yeah, thanks for taking the lead on that, chief.
Lucky you were working, or else
I don't know about
there
lucky,
would have been a
but
lot of water all
there
over.
was a lot of water.
How much would there be? Yeah. Well, chief, police department report.
The only thing I would have, and so it's not on the agenda as it was in the past, reference old business, so I'll bring it up now. If there's any movement on the thoughts on the K-9 unit for the department.
I have some thoughts on this. You wanna go first, me first?
You didn't go last time, go ahead.
You remember that.
Of course.
So then I will go first on this one, because
Absolutely.
I've been thinking about this a lot. To me, one of the most interesting things about the K-9 unit is the liability for the officers, the liability for East Cocalico Township. In some of the things that I've been reading, and that's why I didn't say anything last time, Lorenzo, was I did some reading, I did some research, I looked around, and I was pretty surprised. Again, it's not my area of expertise, it's not my skill set, but I was pretty surprised by how many articles I read, how much information I was able to obtain in terms of how many officers do not get injured, or they reduce the injury rates because a K-9 unit is actually released into a building, or the K-9 unit is actually released into a vehicle. That actually surprised me. I was not aware of that. Again, it's not my skill set, my area of expertise. So the K-9 unit to me is a very, very interesting concept for East Cocalico, personally, because of the liability issues surrounding the police officers and the liability issues surrounding which then could result back down to us as a municipality, the taxpayer. Okay? So the other thing about the K-9 unit that I'm very intrigued by in reading what I've read is surrounding how the canine units are actually, some of them are, and I don't know if this is the case here, but some of them, how they're actually trained in things like silver alerts, where you have an elderly person who ends up walking into a field. Yes, this is the Midwest, but we have lots of fields here. The canine unit actually assists in recovering or helping to find elderly that are lost out in the fields, or even kids that get lost out in the woods and things like that. So there's been some questions surrounding the cost of the canine unit. I'm sorry I'm taking a long time, but this is why I wanted time to think this through. Is there surrounding the cost? And how do we as a municipality balance the potential cost here? I think what I've heard the officers say that presented was that one of the things that a lot of the municipalities did is they did it as a almost, I believe, fully funded by volunteer donations for the canine unit. And I believe it was Lidditz, some of the officers were talking about Lidditz had done that. So the benefits to the municipality in my mind seem fairly high. The benefits to the community, to public safety, to the reducing our liability, because you've heard me say this for years and years and years, I'm all about minimizing that liability. They're fairly high. The cost to the community, if the officers can get the donations in place, are minimal, if any. There's going to be some, I'm sure, related to overtime or something like that. So I've thought through what I think is a balance for both of my fellow supervisors here. Why don't we do the following as a balance? Let's test to see if it's even feasible. Let's test to see what the donation response rate looks like for a canine unit. We give a green light to the officers to take donations for a canine unit. Bernadette, you're online, so however that's done in such a way where from a legal perspective, the officers are taking donations, that's for the canine unit. We see what the response rate is for those donations over a period of time. And they may be able to successfully get donations for a canine unit in 3, 4, 5 months. You'll find out real quickly that then at that point, there's a really high positive interest in having the canine unit. Now, 10 months later, 11 months later, we look at this and their donations are only 10 or 15% of what they need. Then at that point in time, we have to reevaluate, because then the burden of the cost could come to the municipality. So the reason I said that, Bernadette, was I'm not sure from a 501c perspective, if the officers can clearly identify where the donation money came from, what the donation money is intended for, and if it does not work, that donation money is then returned to the individuals who donated the money. So I'm wondering if we can do that as a compromise here. So those are my thoughts.
I will check on that and report back to you.
Thank
I'll
you.
check with our business people. Yep.
I've said it in the past as well. You know, after our last meeting, I expressed some concerns. I had many people contact me, and after they read the paper, saying that I was in favor of it as well, asking me multiple questions, and I don't have answers. Because some of the questions are, what's this going to look like 5, 6, 7 years down the road? I don't know. What if we don't have the funds? What are you guys going to do? We're paying for it. I don't know. What are you going to do when other municipalities call us out nonstop and us taxpayers are paying? That one was actually pretty an aggressive conversation, actually, that part. And I was like, I don't know. You know, we had discussed, we'll set a radius. I think we had talked with Corporal Longo here when they were here about setting a radius for the, for call outs per se. Like we wouldn't be going to Reading City or Philadelphia or, maybe Ephrata or right around here locally. So, I personally think there's a lot of unknowns still. I'm in favor of it, but there's still a lot of unknowns. So why am I gonna come to you and ask you for a donation and I'm gonna cash your check and in a year from now, I'm gonna return your check? I think we're putting the cart in front of, the cart in front of the horse in a way. I feel like, again, I'm coming at it as I'm in favor, but I also want to make sure I'm of the type, if I'm gonna do something, I want to do it right and not look like a fool later. And I think there's a lot on the line. We're sitting up here, and if we're gonna give them the go ahead and then we look like fools because we returned their money because we thought we were gonna get $100 grand in 2 months and we're not even close. I don't want to be put in that position. And I also don't want to wait a whole year for donations. Like you said, we're going to know right away if this is going to take off or not. But there's still a lot of unanswered questions on, I have a feeling if we do approve it next meeting, there's going to be people that are going to start coming in, asking us questions. And we have limited answers. We can't keep pointing the finger at Lidditz. Lidditz said this, Lidditz said that. That's my opinion. But again, I'm speaking as in I'm in favor of it. I'm not against it, but if people start coming in the door and asking us all these questions, we can't say go to Lidditz, go ask them.
Well, it's valid concerns, so my question is this, it's what it is, it's what we call a feasibility study. The feasibility study is by them getting a green light on the program, taking donations, and then getting those answers in parallel.
I think I can answer a couple of those questions right now. Okay. I mean, we've had Reading City here. You mentioned a couple, and I'll just kind of go through. We've had Exeter Township from Berks County here using their dog on a burglary call where two of the suspects were caught. Actually, 3 of them were caught. Not by the dog per se, for one of them, I think it was, but the other 2, we could track them out of the woods. Manheim Borough has been here for a gun call. The Sheriff's Department has been here. The canine handler has the ability to ask some questions. This was an example that was given to me of, okay, you're on a traffic stop, you want a dog down in X Township. And the canine handler asks a couple questions, says, I'm not coming out because certain things were done. I don't want to say they were done improper, but they're done so that it makes the dog search invalid or it messes with the dog search. When we call a dog out, we kind of stop, we set a perimeter because we don't want to be walking through the area where the suspect was and throw the dog off the tracks. Just the other weekend, we had Middle Creek search and rescue here with multiple dogs, multiple horses. Now, I understand that's a different thing, but so I think the area, you kind of have to be careful on saying, we're not going to this place when Lancaster City came up, when Adams Antiques had burglary and their guy came through. He happened to be working and he came through and let the dog into the building so the officers didn't have to search. So I think those concerns are, yes, we're not going to Chester County. We're not going to Lebanon City or places like that. It has to be within reason. I think maybe within a county or within a certain area. We don't want to go to the southern end of the county at the Maryland line. I think that's understandable. So those, from my perspective, are things that can be considered in this in reference to where we're going. Your question of if 5, 6, 7 years down the road, there's no more money. I would say that the car is already paid for. The dog is already paid for. And the handler, the training is already paid for. So I think as you're looking down those years, you would have to say, okay, have we raised enough money for when that dog retires to get another one? So when you're looking at that, hopefully the dog lasts 9 years. I think, I don't want to speak, but I just read an article today, I think it was Manheim Township or another department just retired a dog. I'm sorry, it was Lebanon City. They just retired a dog after 9 years. So I think that's about the lifespan of a canine. It's not the lifespan of the dog because then it goes with the handler. But if at that point, 6 years from now, the dog has hip problems and he needs to be retired and there's not enough money to purchase another dog and a fund drive doesn't make up those funds, then I think the program is paused for a while until those funds could be made up. I don't think it would be at that point the right thing to do to say, okay, well now we have it, now you have to raise taxes because we got to get another one. I don't think that's proper, but I think those upfront initial costs, the car, getting the dog, the training, is a big thing to consider. I know overtime has been a concern, and I think we would treat that the same way as I do, or we do, other overtime. There would be some attempts to, okay, if the dog handler was called out, he's supposed to work the next day, but he was called out the night before, can we, adjust schedules and do that without violating any contracts or anything like that? I think that would have to be worked into things. And that's not going to happen all the time. There is going to be overtime. There is going to be a shift that's short at some points when the dog has to go for training. So I think you have to weigh all those different things, the benefit as opposed to the negative, which I guess the negative would, one of the major things is the cost. So again, the program wouldn't take off until it's fully funded. But I guess my question is, how do you know until you start to raise the money? So it's kind of like that chicken and egg thing. I mean, to be honest with you, if we never start to raise the funds, how are we going to know if we have the funds to start the program and move forward? I mean, we could possibly do it by pledges, but I would almost hate to do that where, this business in the area pledged us $10,000. Maybe that's wishful thinking, but I'm just using an example of $10,000. And now a year from now or 9 months from now, okay, we have enough pledges. Hey, we're going back and really sorry, we don't have the money now. So we can't give it to you. So I don't know that I answered all the questions, and I know there's a lot of concerns. I know there's a lot of concerns from the citizens, and I appreciate every one of them. I guess I'm wondering how you do one and not the other, or not start it to find out. And maybe somebody has an idea. I don't know that it's been done that way in the past. And from what I've heard, a lot of the canine units are basically self-sustaining through fundraising and through donations. Now, I could eat my words 6 months from now and we get no donations, but I mean, I understand your dilemma. I honestly do. I just don't know how to start it without getting the donations in, and then if okay, it did not work out 6 months from now, and we know it's not going to work out, then we work with Judy and send the checks back, or reimburse, however you want to say it.
One of the comments you made was about the overtime, about switching things around or to kind of work it out, and there will be some overtime.
Oh, absolutely.
Overtime's time and a half. It adds up quick. That's the biggest concern of mine. I haven't seen a financial spreadsheet of how this is going to work from you or the officers. Here's the maximum amount of overtime it's going to be, and the donations will cover it. Here's where we'll be in year 2, year 4. I know.
I can't give that to you.
And I've heard that. So,
There's no way for me to. We have been very, very lucky that we're not facing a incident or a call where overtime where we would blow the overtime budget out of the water, and there's $115,000 in there. And we've had those in the past. So again, very fortunate, but I can't tell you that, okay, you know, we're not gonna spend that, or here's the limit. And then all of a sudden we have one of those incidents and it's through the roof. The one thing I can say is, do you have 6 officers out searching a field, searching an area, when that, and paying them overtime, when that dog could potentially shorten that time frame? So you can look at it so many different ways of how you're going to do it or what you're going to do. And I could probably go to Lancaster City Lit, if Spring Township had a dog, or Reading City, or one of the other ones, and say, how much overtime did you spend this year and how much did you spend last year? And they could be completely different numbers. So I would hate to say when the handler's off that, you know, EFRA calls us and it's available, but I'm sorry, we can't come out because there's no overtime available. It's kind of along the same lines of, in a way, of crash reconstruction. You know, this last call, unfortunately, we had members from East Hempfield, Manheim Township, Mount Joy Borough, a number of officers from Ephrata, and I think I might have missed 1 or 2. So that's how many people came to assist us. So I would never want to say, I'm sorry, there's no money, we're not assisting you. So I can't provide you with that. I wish I could. I wish I could set it in stone and say, okay, here's our allotment, but as soon as I do that, it'll get blown out of the water.
It's an unknown.
It is.
You know, I guess our budget is printed for next year. It's no secret to anybody that's been looking. I guess there's a projected tax increase for next year. You know, and I think during our board budget discussions, you know, we've talked about the need going forward to more. We've got infrastructure issues, other things that have to be addressed. So it concerns me that, you know, we're jumping into something here that, you know, I think we can manage to keep on moving ahead without it.
Okay,
Can we table it to the next one?
discussion continues.
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
don't have anything else.
Thanks, Chief.
Question?
Yes, sir.
I've got.
Name, sorry.
Chad Weaver.
Yes, sir.
What was the potential cost of this to start this? I haven't been able to hear that.
It's,
I mean, we're talking 50,000, 25,000,
No,
100,000
it would probably be closer to 80,000.
up front, or is that spread out?
Well,
over the
you're
course of 2 years?
considering the car.
Okay.
The car is 50 to 3,000, right there. Now, that's an item that we have that if, heaven forbid, 2 years from now, I mean, we could potentially
Right.
sell it or take the cage out of the car and then have it.
I was just curious, I've been hearing, I haven't heard the price, because I didn't attend enough of them
It's-
here to see that. So.
It's the cost of the dog, the training, and the cost of the car are the biggest upfront costs. Once you have those things, then you have the residual food, vet care, the overtime, if you're considering that into the program. I think that there's a little bit of a stipend for the handler in reference to certain things, not extra pay, but things for the dog. So that's the biggest upfront cost is, you know, $55,000 cost, 50, 55, somewhere.
We were fortunate enough as well, if you missed the previous meetings, Adamstown Vet talked with our officers. They said they also give us a discounted rate, so they work with us as well. Some of the things I was reading, I'll mention that now too, was after the dog retires, some municipalities or boroughs, whoever has a dog, continues to pay for all the vet bills and food and all that for the dog till the dog passes, even though it's not in service. It's kind of like like a COLA per se for a pension for the, so, that'd be another thing out there that, in the details after, if we do move forward, we'd have to figure all that out as well.
I would tell you that I think that it's a good idea. Being in emergency services, that would be a phenomenal thing to have in this area. One saved, one life, one thing protected, that $80,000 is nothing. I mean, we buy equipment in the hundreds of thousands of dollars to protect one life. And if we save one life, it was worth the 6 figures for that. So I would tell you guys to look at that a little deeper, get a better cost on it. It would be used a lot more than what I think you realize, and it is a life safety thing for the officers and the public. So please look into it a little deeper.
Yes, sir.
Brian Wise, if you were to call our insurance carrier tomorrow and say, we'd like to put a dog on the policy, what is the difference between a dog or no dog?
Well, there would be an increase, but from what I'm told, and I haven't talked to the insurance carrier, but I believe Corporal Luongo looked into it or asked another department, and it was not an astonishing amount. In fact, I remember him speaking about it, and I thought, I'm a little bit surprised by that. So again, that would be something we would have to nail down. I think he already has that. I just don't have it off the top of my head right now.
Thank you.
You can have one.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Alan Maxwell on Zoom has a question. Go ahead, Alan.
Good evening. As a resident, I'm not necessarily opposed to the dog and having a canine unit in the township. However, in hearing the chief's comments tonight, it sounds like anytime we've ever needed a dog, we've had those issues getting one. So with that in mind, the extreme need doesn't seem to be there to rush into this.
Did he say we haven't had any issues?
Yes.
So we've called numerous times and there's no dog available.
Okay, well, I was just going by your comments of saying we had it this time, that these people were bringing dogs in. But my main comment is for this is rather than start taking donations, why don't we take a poll of the residents of East Cocalico Township, send something from the township out in the way of a postcard to return, and let the residents share their opinions on that to guide us. It's our money that's going to be going into it that we're going to have to donate. It's a lot cheaper than starting to take donations and have to return them if we don't get enough. That would be my suggestion as a resident looking at the money we already spend for things and donations we already give to emergency services and so forth. Let's see what the residents actually have to say by doing a poll to them. It's only going to be a couple $100 to spend in postcards to send out.
Could be a ballot referendum.
Good Lord.
Ballot referendum might not be a bad thing.
It could turn out to be like the roundabout conversation too.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay.
Thanks, Chief.
Okay, Financial Administrator, Board of Assessment of Appeals, the millage rate. So I'll speak to this one. So we received our letter from Lancaster County for November 7th, 2022. And they are basically reminding us that our municipality's 2023 tax millage rate they need to be notified of it, and it needs to be adopted at our budget. And no later than December 16th of 2022. And the meeting is the 15th, that is correct. Yes. So in pulling on that thread with the assessments, Mr. Mitchell, you had made a comment about there's a 2.5% tax increase in the budget for next year. I'm going to start by saying I do not believe that tax increase is necessary. I've done the numbers. And there's a number of reasons for it. Currently, at the run rate that we are going as a municipality, we are going to have a surplus, as it sits right now, of close to $660,000 for this year. That's as of December 1st. We have $200,000 set aside in next year's budget for the police pension MMO. That $200,000, based on the performance of the police budget, based on the performance of the market, which I watch very carefully, that is an extremely aggressive number that we thought we could just go ahead and set that aside. So considering where we are as a municipality, we could potentially have close to over $800,000 in funds that are available for next year's budget. 2.5% tax increase, in my opinion, a 2.5% tax increase gets you roughly $46,000. The public needs to know that. I'd like to know what $46,000 really gets us as a municipality, considering a rounded off $7 million budget. So this board has done an excellent job. I will say this to the public, and I'm very proud of my board in the following. This board has never deliberated this information. We've never discussed it in detail. It was presented by the financial administrator, and this is the first time my board members are hearing this from me. I have no idea how Mr. Lorenzo thinks about this. I have no idea how Mr. Mitchell thinks about this, but considering the financial models I've run, I really don't see how in the world a 2.5% budget, a 2.5% tax increase, and stressing our residents at this point in time why we need that. I'll add to that by saying, in the past, everyone knows, I've made it very clear when we did a 5-year analysis and we looked at it, there were a lot of questions in the 5-year analysis, and I see an old board member sitting there nodding his head. But we have visibility for 48 to 52 months out. Right now, we're only looking at the next 12 months. In good conscience, I can't agree to a 2.5% increase when I'm only looking 12 months out in time. We stopped looking that far out. So those are my initial thoughts. My other thoughts on the budget is based on that financial information. The library has requested a 10% increase in our donation to them.
It was 20.
Was a 20% increase, excuse me. Thank you. 20% increase in our donation to them. Considering our residents are the largest users of the library, I think it's something we really need to consider. Is it 10% or is it 20%? But it's something we should really consider. So those are my thoughts on the budget.
There's no vote tonight, right?
No.
The budget will be voted on supposedly our next meeting.
Correct.
And
so that's why I want to get those thoughts out there.
that's fine.
For consideration. That's fine.
I appreciate you saying that now in front of everyone. We have not talked about it at all. So that's a good thing. My thoughts, being the new supervisor on the board, happy to hear that. I was looking at numbers as well, and I didn't want to raise taxes either on my first year on sitting up here. But
I had to.
I truly think with, you guys all go to the store, you guys all go to the gas pump. The inflation rate is outrageous. Head of lettuce was $8 at the store. I'm paying $100 a case right now, so, I know. So my opinion, raising 2.5%, $46,000 to our budget, don't take it the wrong way. We're not gonna feel it if we get it or not. I'd rather keep a smiling face on the residents and make sure they don't feel a burden, because if it's $150, $200 on them, that could go a long way. So my opinion, all our budget meetings, that 2.5% has been there, but we never discussed it, never talked about how we felt about it. We just left it there just to project.
It was a model.
And that was the model we were going off of. But like my board member said, this is the first time we're discussing it in public, and that's how I feel about it as well. So I hope that we do not increase the taxes for the coming year.
Okay.
Mr. Mitchell?
Sure. Yeah, nobody likes to hear taxes being raised. When you look at some of the salary increases that we had to put together for next year, that $46,000 doesn't even get close to covering it. It was quite a bit more. And, at some point, you have to recognize that you have to keep up with inflation. We have a couple large capital projects being proposed for next year. We have not really talked about how they're going to be funded, meaning the Hill Road realignment. There's large traffic impact fee account there that should handle most of that, but we've not discussed where that's going to come from.
The Mitchell budget.
There you go. The authority's also looking for an expansion off of this building. None of the funding from our standpoint has been talked about for that. These are large dollar projects. So, I don't want to see our capital reserve fund get deleted too far. It's concerning to me. So these are conversations the board has to have in the future, where this is going to go. And, I see many emergency service faces in the crowd. The board sent out a letter in the past week, 2 weeks here, about ARPA reimbursement for fuel. I feel like I would like to see us do a little better than that, because other communities throughout Lancaster County have. I think, but we've talked in circles about that for years and years and years, about companies working together in some different way financially. So, when that would come to a conclusion, who knows? So, I would like to see us at some point next year, if all this ARPA money doesn't get used, redirect some of that towards our emergency services. At this point, we'll give you what we got undesignated. Doesn't mean we're done. So, hold me to that.
You're only one vote, don't talk to me.
Hold me to raising the issue. How about that?
Hold him to it.
Sorry. So those are a few of my thoughts.
Okay.
So are you for raising taxes or not?
I don't have to say anything until next meeting, do I?
You wanna be able to walk out the door, huh?
I'm just relying facts as I see it.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. All right, MS4 restoration project. Ken?
Yes, we had talked about this previously, we did a presentation on it. And basically the project was to, in the area of Stony Run, adjacent to the building, heading south from here, do a stream bank restoration project that would be not at our expense, but we would be able to get the sediment reduction credit from it as a joint venture between us and the Turnpike Commission, who's, I believe, funding this. And the Turnpike Commission, because of their requirements to get this done, they're looking to see about getting an answer from us, because they can't leave it hanging forever. If we're in the end gonna say no, they have to figure out something else that they can do. That's kind of where it's at. We can answer questions. I know Lorenzo has also had discussions with them at some level. I don't know exactly what your involvement has been. I've seen some of the emails, but there have been others that I didn't see. So that's kind of where we're at. We're sort of looking to decide whether we want to proceed with this, or is it something we're not interested in, because I do kind of need the answer on this.
Okay, thoughts from the board?
So, if you guys remember, Hannah's the lady that came to the Smokestown Fire Hall where she did that presentation. We got pictures here that she sent us as well. They went out there and they took multiple pictures and measurements and all that. The creek is eroding pretty quickly, vertically and horizontally. Trees are gonna start coming down. And obviously, like she says, they're not gonna get replaced by themselves. So they're actually offering to clean that all up, bring it back up to standards, plant new trees. So obviously, if we're looking out that way, that's all gonna look nice and clean. And we were talking about with Ken and Hannah as well about putting a walking trail, maybe a bench or two out there. Obviously, those are all details we would have to go through with them. I feel that the Turnpike is personally pushing them a little too much, because they need to get those credits. And as their emails states, the Turnpike keeps contacting them, asking them, hey, are they gonna do this? Are they gonna, and unfortunately, there's not a lot of properties along the stretch that they can do this with, and ours is like it's perfect for them. In an email, she had said, the piece we are proposing to work on extends about 1,000 feet down and will not go near the Turnpike, so that buffer will remain regard to sound. She added that because if you guys recall, there was residents at the Smokestown Fire Hall, they were talking about, if they're gonna tear out all that vegetation and stuff, if they're gonna start hearing more noise from the Turnpike and stuff. Well, sorry to say it, I live at the top of the hill, I hear it no matter what, and there's plenty of stuff, houses and everything there. We get the bank, our FS4, MS4 credits. Right now we're exceeding them, so we don't really need them, but we get to bank them for the years to come if we come short in the FS4 program or something. It's really a board decision if we want to decide to go ahead with it. I'm sure we can sit down and have more conversation with them, but at least we can tell them if we're interested or not, so they stop wasting their time and emailing us once or twice a week. And again, it's a shame we don't have a computer to mount it there, but as you guys see, the whole yellow. So it's gonna definitely clean up what that looks like, and possibly help, with the flooding of the road when all that water goes down, it might help with that better. I don't know. Maybe not.
Probably not, since it's downstream.
That's,
For upstream, it would have a big impact, big positive impact, but it's probably not gonna alter the flooding. But in addition to simply what it does for us in terms of having sort of reserve MS4 setup reduction credits, it also makes a big addition to the county's effort to clean up water quality. The county has spent enormous amounts of money on trying to clean up streams, and this is a really good project in that sense, that it has a very big impact in terms of cleaning it, and the county needs that. And it's not something we're going to be paying for.
Ken, quick question. From my understanding, when they talk about banking the MS4 credits, right?
Yes.
Have you ever seen the limit on the banking of those credits to date? I'm sure it could change.
It's never been mentioned, and I've never heard a reference to it.
Okay, that's.
I think that question was asked.
The MS4 reduction credits.
And she said there wasn't a year ago in that Smokestone meeting.
Okay.
Because I remember asking.
Right, and then that's what I wanted to.
The FS4 credits are an annual practice. Those don't carry forward. Those are something we need to do each year. Mitigation projects like this, those credits do carry forward.
Right. Okay.
My opinion, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, they're covering costs.
They're covering everything, and it's in wetlands. We're never gonna be able to put a township expansion over a creek or do anything over
Right,
there.
there's nothing else we could possibly do in that area, because it's either wetlands or floodplain.
They're bringing more value to our property. That's my opinion.
Yeah, that's the key. It's wetlands, something, nobody's ever gonna say that, yeah, I wanted to build that there and this is in the way. No, that's not gonna happen. So, we have little to lose on that. You know, my one concern is, you know, we got oodles of paperwork here from them that probably need to be reviewed through council before we jump in with both feet, I guess, to understand everything that they're looking at here.
But we can at least say we're interested.
Our intent is there.
Our intent is there, but
Yeah, the intent is we're interested in moving forward. But we need council to do a preliminary review of the documents and the contracts that they sent over, which is really the scope of what they're doing.
and Ken,
And sort of clarify some of the terms. One, like the walking path, if we do that, I think they had offered to pay for that, for instance.
Right.
And so we could have a walking path and set up some picnic tables, people from the office here could have lunch down there.
I'll take you up on that. I'll take you up on that.
So,
The maintenance as well is on them.
Right.
Yep. So if something goes wrong, they come and.
so Ken's the point man on this, the lead on this. So I think it would be fair also to have Ken work with council, relay the message back to them, work with council on reviewing those contracts.
Right, so that we're interested, we'd like to proceed to looking over the contracts and getting the details, the formal details worked out.
Right.
Yeah, I recall you saw my name in there a little bit because they weren't getting an answer. There was a lot of other things going on, so I just asked for more information. And that's how I got thrown into it, going back and forth. And between you and them, that's, at least we're getting to the finish line, or the starting line, I'd say.
I'll tell you what, let's do this then. It is on the agenda. Do you want to make a motion for that?
To go ahead and give them we'll commit or not commit.
Well, make a motion that Ken.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'll make a motion that our MS4 coordinator work with council in reviewing the contracts that they have submitted to us. In conjunction with doing that, going back to the Stony Run individuals in terms of expressing to them our interest in moving forward pending a review from our council.
I'll second that.
Okay? So we have a motion and we have a second. Any other quick questions on that one? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thanks,
Ken. Okay, treasurer's report, Mr. Bills.
Treasurer's report, tonight we just have one.
Hold on. Just one other quick note to add. Today we got the letter back from DEP saying that our MS4 annual report was accepted and was completely adequate.
Outstanding.
Good work.
Good job for you, Ken.
Big deal.
Outstanding, thank you. Okay, back to the list of bills.
Yes. We have a total general fund list of bills for $201,557.12. Now, this is minus check number 63233. We're holding that one up for discretionary reasons. So is there any questions on the other bills as listed? Yes, sir.
Roy Wise, page 1, number 2, Adams Town Veterinary Hospital for an exam.
That would be Mr.
Who gets the
Kepley's.
exam around here for that?
It's in reference to a criminal case.
Does that get charged? Or does the township have to eat that?
Well, it depends what the result of the criminal case is.
Okay,
I
okay, I get
I
it.
mean, if an arrest is made, it could be part of restitution. If an arrest isn't made, then it's something that we needed to do to investigate a potential crime.
Okay, well, I have you down the page a little further. Fleet ride, $4,961.25 for 2 heavy-duty records.
For the truck that's parked in the employee parking lot from the fatal crash,
Okay,
for the tow bill, for them to tow it back here.
We should get reimbursed at some point on that.
When the truck is finally released, the owner of the truck, most likely through their insurance company, will pay the tow bill, they'll reimburse the township, and then we'll release the truck. We seized the truck due to it being an active investigation. And I cannot see Fleet Pride, due to the fact that I don't know when a resolution is gonna come to that case. I can't expect Fleet Pride to sit with an open bill for an unknown amount of time for a tow bill like that. So we will get reimbursed before we release the truck. I just have no idea when that reimbursement will come because I don't know what the outcome of the case is going to be right now, because it's under review by the district attorney's office.
okay, thank you.
Is it fair to say when the truck leaves, we will have been reimbursed?
Yes, for the truck to leave, we will get reimbursed for the tow bill. And that's a past practice here. If we seize a vehicle and there's a tow bill, the vehicle gets released once we receive reimbursement. Usually with a vehicle, we don't hold it that long unless it's involved in a crash. So what the tow companies usually do is they're patient with us. So if we're releasing it in a 2-week period, a 3-week, 4-week, they'll just write the check out to the tow company. We'll make sure they get reimbursed and we release the vehicle. This is a different situation because of the circumstances. So it's one of those things we have to do.
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, anybody else? Seeing none, I make a motion to approve as presented.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, none. Motion carries.
That is all we have tonight.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, Okay, management items, informational, again, keep the public apprised of what we're doing behind the scenes. Should say front of the scenes. So the emergency services potential ARPA reimbursement, we mailed those letters out, and Chief, thank you. Chief just presented his packet. I will say, I don't know if anyone from Reamstown is on. I see Chief from Smokestown. The information we're looking for, keep sending that information through the end of the year. It's not just the information until that point in time, because the reason is we want to try to reimburse you for as much as we can to deplete that balance of about $14,000 on the ARPA fund. So it's not just to when we made the motion in the meeting, continue to submit what you have. Okay? Thank you.
Just for some clarification on that as
Sure.
well.
Yeah.
Smokestowns is attached as well, just by looking at their numbers. They're about 80% of what we have left. Okay?
Right.
So, it's just for transparency purposes. I haven't looked at Stevens yet, and if it's more,
But remember what we said.
the 14,
Remember what we said. We're gonna take the total amount from the three companies, right? And then we'll just divide that number up between the three companies.
That's what I wanted to say. Most likely, the 14 and change is gonna end up getting possibly divided in three. Just because the expenditures are, for one fire company, are way probably more than what we have not accounted for at the moment.
Yeah, it was not a first come, first serve. They know that.
Yeah, so just want to be clear.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks for the clarification. Yep. Okay,
There's a question back
oh,
there.
yes, sir.
Okay, there's a question came in through Zoom. How long are you gonna keep giving the stations money when they are under investigation and not giving numbers? All I can say is that's what they said.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Farming lease, Andy Rutt. Do you have that one?
Yes, we had talked about this previously. Our farmer there is, lease is being extended, if the board votes so. Ken has done some good work there in recalculating land mass. Some of that has been taken away with the MS4 project, stream bank projects down here. So with the new area calculation, the total lease amount comes to just a little bit over $2,400. The dilemma was that this coming year there could be some road reconstruction or construction project out on the farmland there. So we changed the language a bit so that the payments could be made later in the year, so that if it needed to be prorated because of some of that happening, Andy Rutt, the farmer, would not owe us until late in the year. So thank you to Matt Cream for changing some of the language to reflect that. And thank you to Ken for doing the area calculation. So the paperwork is in front of you.
Okay.
Any questions on what you see there?
I didn't have any.
Nope. Okay. Seeing none, I'll make a motion to approve the farm lease and have it sent out as presented.
And I will second that. Okay, any other questions? Yes, sir.
There's one minor thing, that the land taken away from the MS4 Stream Bank Restoration Project happened this year, and in fairness, he was paying for more land than he actually got to use, so there would be a slight refund involved. I think it was around $600 or so.
Okay, and we'll have that information, probably at our next meeting, returning that payment, right, Ken?
Yes.
Yes. Okay,
Motion
so noted.
So we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, none. Motion carries.
Okay,
Thank you.
good.
Okay, LERTA extension update again for the community's information. I did attend, I and Council Matt Cream did attend the commissioners' meetings on Monday as well as on Tuesday. Very happy to say that the meeting went very well and the commissioners have supported the LERTA extension as we have requested. So thank you to the county commissioners for that. Gentlemen, what I would like to do at this point, if it's okay with the board,
Send them a letter.
I would like to send the county commissioners a letter thanking them, signed by the three of us.
Agreed.
And then what I would also like to do is send a letter to the school district, to the board, the president of the board, to the school directors. Yes, we have that from them also. Yep. So, yeah, because I needed it for the commissioners.
Did we send them a letter already?
I don't think we did yet. I don't think we did. All right. So I would just like to send them a letter signed by us to thank them for that. Okay?
Sure.
If we did, we can check.
So, how did the conversation go with the commissioners?
It went very well. So what I have some notes open on my computer here, and I can tell you.
Was there a lot of questions?
There were. It was very similar, quite frankly. It was very similar to a Q&A, a legal Q&A in many ways. So when we went to the county, what we ended up doing was the commissioners had the information in front of us. The assistant attorney for the commissioners presented the LERTA and what it was about. Then Matt had 5 minutes just in terms of describing the legalities of what the LERTA is. Then what I did is I presented on behalf of East Cocalico Township, how successful LERTA was. I told them about how it's been beneficial, the projects we currently have on LERTA, the projects that we anticipate could be. So also how LERTA does benefit the entire community. That really was the important one also, is such as examples in terms of the LERTA allows us to make those improvements with the businesses by attracting them in areas where it would be much more difficult to try to develop. So one of the benefits for safety for that the entire community is getting a benefit from is one of the red lights out on Colonel Howard Boulevard. And I use that one as an example. So we did that extensively on Monday morning. Then on Tuesday, it was just a brief overview, very similar to what we discussed on Monday, just to see if there were any follow-up questions from the commissioners, and then they took a formal vote. So.
Yeah, I wasn't sure, since it was just an extension of the same terms, basically, from the original presentation years ago, whether there would be much more information requested.
Not additional, more of a rehashing and a reminder, basically historical of what have been the benefits to me.
Yeah, refreshing their memory.
And that was the big unknown, whether there was going to be a lot of new things thrown down there.
Yeah, it went well.
Good,
Yeah.
Good.
Okay, so the next item is the resignation acceptance for the Director of Community Development. Let me pull this up. What's that? Go ahead. No, I got it here. Yeah. So on November 22nd, 2022, the Board of Supervisors received the following. Dear Supervisors, please accept this letter as my formal resignation from my position as Director of Community Development for East Cocalico Township, effective December 9, 2022. I appreciate the opportunity to work at the township this past year. Please let me know if there are any specific tasks you want me to undertake in the next 2.5 weeks. Sincerely, Sharon E. Young. Okay, so I need a motion for the resignation.
I'll make a motion with regret to accept the resignation of Sharon Young as East Cocalico Township Director of Community Development, with her last day being Friday, December 9th, 2022.
Okay, second.
And I will second that.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Old business, liability insurance proposal. With the budget and a number of other things going on right now, I still have to sit down with Judy, and I need to make a phone call, because I do have some of these underwriting questions that I have for them on the coverages. And I told you guys, I'll take that action item and I'll take care of that. Okay, just want to double check some things we have there.
Are you expecting a vote next meeting?
No, not by next meeting. I don't think they're gonna get back to us by then.
So, okay.
Yeah.
We will more than likely continue ahead with the existing
Absolutely.
insurer
Absolutely.
next year.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
Yeah.
fair enough.
Yep. Okay. All right, public comment for non-agenda items. Again, please state your name. It helps us with the meeting minutes. Any questions?
I got one.
Yes, sir.
On Cross Road. I just bought that farm on Ridge Road probably about a year ago. Just asking if something to be done about that traffic going so fast through there. I mean, they're racing up down that road sometimes.
It's South Ridge Road, come down the hill.
Yeah, right to the power lines, it's like farm.
Are you, and I apologize, I knew that was sold, but the farm on the East Cocalico side or West Cocalico?
It's on the left coming from here. That's where the power lines go through, the high tension lines.
Okay.
So you're an East Cocalico resident?
Yeah,
So if you're going from Denver Borough to the four-way stop in Reinhold's, are you on the right or the left?
I'll be on the right.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we have, in the past, I don't want to say too much where we sit, but we're aware.
I ain't seen nobody there lately, but.
No, I understand, but, depending on where the driveways are or where different points are, but I can easily put that out on to patrol and have those.
I mean, that's.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Just about 20 feet from the road, my porch is right there, and
Yeah.
it just goes so fast sometimes.
And we have the device that the thing called the NRAD, which sits on either side of the road, and it has, lack of a better term, electric eyes, and then they break the beam and go from there. Yeah. I will make a note and put it out of control.
Thank you. Okay, any other questions? Yes, sir.
Alan Maxwell on Zoom has a question.
Good evening again. I have actually two questions. Earlier in the night, Chairman Carrasco stated that they had 3 separate executive sessions where there were discussions held on the manager search. Was just curious if we had an update that you could give us on how close we are to hiring a manager, if at all. Are there any candidates that are promising that we're at that point where we're ready to make an offer? That's the first one.
Well, I will tell you, we did have executive session and lengthy discussion about it. However, there's not much I personally would like to say yet prior to moving forward with it. We've had, it's not wasted, we have spent multiple hours in the building interviewing and discussing, and we finally narrowed it down to candidate. So I think we are close. We have him on the hook per se. You know, when they say going fishing, you don't, you know, what can I say? How can I word this? We narrowed it down, and I think the best thing is to just leave it at that at the moment. Once we move forward with it, you guys will be the first to know.
Awesome, glad to hear it. Let's just hope our net is strong enough to land him, using your fishing terminology. Second one.
It's a delicate subject, and we are not taking this lightly in no way, shape, or form. We do not want to make a mistake, so we are having very lengthy discussions with the candidate and our headhunter.
Glad to hear that. Looking forward to hearing some movement forward on it. Thank you for that. Secondly, I'm a bit disturbed with Sharon's resignation, to be honest with you. Once again, the township is losing valuable employees, and we seem to have an issue with being able to attract and retain good employees. We've had many that we've lost this year that were good employees. And it's concerning that we don't seem to be changing things to be able to retain these people. Just as a citizen looking in, I really feel we need to look deeply at what's going on within the township and what we can do to retain our people long term. We can't continue the revolving door of people coming in and out. It hurts the township. It puts way too much workload on the current staff and on you gentlemen. And I just want to encourage you to look deeply within the township and see what we need to change so that we can retain our good people and not lose any more in the coming year. I appreciate what you guys do. I appreciate you taking the time to hear me out tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any other questions? Okay, seeing none. The next meeting will be on Thursday, December 15th at 7 p.m. Here in the Township Building. So
I make a motion to adjourn. I didn't finish.
I'm out.
Sorry, I didn't finish.
I know all three of us like to come to supervisor meetings so much. We have some pending grant agreements that are coming due this month. Maybe we'll get them, maybe we won't. I would like to propose that we advertise a December 29th meeting this month. Gives us some options there to make some decisions yet this year. Being the next meeting is scheduled for the 15th. It gives us half the month with nothing to approve any changes, bills, anything we need to do.
Bringing cookies?
I will do that. Mrs. Mitchell does a good job with that. Yes.
It's between Christmas and New Year's, so.
So, I just, if we, in 2 weeks, we decide, no, we don't need it, or at some point soon after that, we have the ability to cancel.
Chief, aren't we supposed to aren't we supposed to get an answer?
14th or 16th, I think it's 14th, but it's the day before. Yeah, it's the day before, the day after the next meeting, so.
all right, so Jeff,
But Ken has a grant pending as well, I believe.
yeah, Ken has his,
Culverts on Hill Road and
Right.
White Road.
right, so,
That's still pending with county ARPA funds.
Yeah.
okay, so there's that one, there's the big one for you for the police department. I think it's a prudent thing to do. We can go ahead and advertise and schedule one. If it's not necessary, we can go ahead and cancel it. Again, just in case those grants, if there's anything that we need to decide and those grants come in after the 15th, but they need to be, something has to be executed on them before the start of the year.
Gives us the opportunity.
Hopefully we won't be bringing more than cookies.
Would you guys?
Celebrate that meeting. Like,
What do you
To,
suggest?
do you wanna advertise as a 7 PM or morning meeting?
What day is that?
That'd be Thursday, the 29th.
I would keep it at 7 PM.
I think I would too.
Yeah, let's just keep it at 7 PM.
Need a motion for that?
Yes,
Yes, we would.
Go ahead, sir.
I make a motion that we advertise a December 29th supervisor meeting at the township building here at Hill Road at 7 o'clock.
and I will second that. Okay, so we have a motion, second. Any questions? Seeing none, we have a motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, none. Motion carries. Okay. We do not need an executive session for tonight. We've done it earlier. Okay, I
make a motion to adjourn.
I second that.
motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you,
Okay,
everyone.
thank you everyone for coming.